host, and this live stream we do most Monday through Fridays at 10 a.m. where we talk about coffee and answer any questions about coffee that you may have. So today we're back on the road, got some coffee here in the back, and time to go and make some deliveries. But on the way we're going to go and check out this cinnamon roll. I mentioned the other day when we were out at the donut shop that there's a place not too far from me that has a great cinnamon roll, so I thought we'd come out and have a look. Mom, good morning to you, man. How are you doing? So this is a place called Bethany's, and it opened a couple years, maybe 3 years ago. It's been a while now, but little bakery. The woman that owns it went to pastry school, and has been doing her own thing. It's a really small shop, but really kind of cute, and I think the cinnamon rolls are really quite excellent. Kent, good morning, or good afternoon to you. Kumaku, how are you? Anton, how's it going? How are things out there in Europe for you guys? So a little bit of weather today here in Baltimore, a little bit of rain, so not so beautiful, but not too terrible either. Can't complain too much about it. The weather is getting a little bit milder than it has been, so that's really a positive. All right, so here's where we're going. We're going to go here. So this is a little shopping center that has a bunch of shops. There's a little Bethany's Bakery right there, that little tiny space. And we're going to pull up. Hopefully they're open. I have come here on certain days when they were closed. You know, they're not open every day. And so I was like, oh man, that was terrible. Okay. Azante Rose, hello. How are you doing? Good to see you again. Anton says, I think the word pastries doesn't sound very pleasing, but pastry. So what's the word in German that you guys use for pastries? All right, let's have a look here. We're going to go here. This is it. Little Bethany's. Nice shop. Look at the pink hues. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, let's have a look inside. So nice. Hey, good morning. How are you? I'm very good, thank you. Thanks. No, cinnamon roll. I'm here for a cinnamon roll, please. Do you guys also have coffee? Okay, excellent. Small, please, small. So here's the bagels. Is this new, bagels?
Oh, yeah, pretty new.
I'll have a cinnamon, sesame, not cinnamon, sesame. And then Lady Luck, oh nice. How long has this been open now?
About 3.5 years.
It has been 3 years, okay.
Any cream or sugar for your coffee?
No, thank you. What kind of coffee is it?
Oh, it's just a regular medium roast coffee.
Like, is it Folgers or something, or?
Oh, K&K, I think is the brand.
K&K? Okay, just black's fine. Should be fine.
That's black and milk?
Just black. Just totally black, yes. So here's their half off. This is the best deal. Like, sometimes I'll come there. I should get that one back there, too. But today we're going to get fresh. We're going to get fresh. All right, that'll be it, please. Oops.
Okay, your total is $10.49. Would you like a receipt?
No, thank you. Awesome. Thank you very much.
Have a great day.
Okay, so here we are. We got our coffee and our stuff. So 3.5 years. That's great. That's great. I was pretty sure it was 3. What's happening, Peter? Anton says in German it's Backwehr. Backwehr. Is it Backwehr, like with a V kind of for the W, or is it? It's not Backwehr, right? That or Bakeware, Bakeware, Bake. I'm not sure. All right. So, Dev, good morning to you, man. How are you doing? Anton says, maybe I would call them Mumphies. Azante Rose, I hate getting small coffee and it ends up being the best coffee I ever tasted. I got it delivered late early morning. Didn't want to order again because delivery. Yeah, that's... But you know what? At least, I think that sometimes you have to err with caution, right? Like you don't want to go too crazy because what if it's bad? And now you've got this big coffee that you don't enjoy. And then you wasted your money. So I think maybe it's better to get the small. But I always get the small because I don't necessarily. It's very rare for me to drink more than, let's say, actually it's very rare for me to drink more than 8 ounces. But 12 is usually the smallest. It has that coffee smell that may not necessarily be fabulous. Let's have a look. Here's our coffee. Looks brown. It's okay. It's kind of got a little bit of dirtiness to it. That kind of like CBB dirtiness. Not too heavy, but not very light. Or it's there, so it's not the greatest, but we're not here for the coffee, right? We're just getting coffee as a vehicle. Yeah, the aftertaste is not so pleasant. This is definitely a coffee that would be yesterday's coffee when we was it? No, yes, we were not. The coffee from Pfefferkorns was at the other bakery at the donut shop was better. This is a little bit dirtier. Not as clean, not sweet. Okay, so here is our, look at that. Now, this is kind of a treat for me because normally when I come here, I'll come and I showed you the refrigerator case that had the Dales. Normally I'll buy the Dales because like this is like 5 something and the Dales are half, so it's like $2.50. So I'm like, I always buy the Dales. And here's the kind of sad thing. I kind of got used to eating day-old pastries because, you know, at Spro we had a bakery. We would make our own stuff. So there was always a question like, ooh, should I eat the pastry? But if I eat the pastry that we baked, then we lose all the money on it, right? Like there's no revenue at all because I ate it. But if we sold it, we made money on it. But if we waited till it was stale the next day and I would eat it then it'd be like not a big loss, right? So I got used to doing that. So the product is always going to be better when it's fresh. So let's have a look here. Nicely glazed. So what I really like about her, here's the bottom. What I like about her pastry is that she uses a croissant dough, a laminated dough. Now I'm also going to do something that I don't normally do. Normally I'll pull it apart, but I want to try today just to take a big hunk. Oh. Now if you're the type of person that likes, here in the United States we've got a company called Cinnabon. Cinnabon has this very soft texture to the dough. This is not that. If you really want soft, pillowy cinnamon roll, this will not be the case. This is like croissant. You can see the crumb here, how it rolls in there. I think it's really a brilliant way of doing it. And oh gosh, I'm gonna have to do it. A car shower after this. Anton says, time for morning defects. Naomi's asking, where'd you go? I went to a place here in Cockeysville called Bethany's Bakery. And This is where I tend to go. Whenever I haven't been moved for cinnamon roll, I will come here. And every once in a while, I'll come here, buy the day olds. If they have more than one, I'll buy maybe two, and then put one in the freezer. It is very sweet. Oh, Maku, thank you very much. Gosh, that's very kind. Enjoy the fresh baklava, Mr. Coffee. Thank you. That's very kind. The nice thing that I like, well, because this, and so it's not pillowy. It's not pillowy soft. It's very structured. It's got good resistance. It's well baked. As you can see here, it's got a good strong caramelization. So it's well baked. So there's good amount of resistance. So you get the textural juxtaposition. So if I pull it apart, you can see that. Oh gosh! Now I've got like glaze all over my pants. Oh, all over the car. I look like like I'm having a madness in here. Look at that. In Germany, let's see. Azante says, yes, I have to order at that time again, which won't be good for all my already messed up. Oh no. Sorry to hear that. Here's a server walking in with bottles of open wine. There's a place here next door called Vito's Cafe. Really a wonderful, wonderful Italian restaurant in the suburbs. Naomi says, dirty coffee again. It's not that bad. It's dirtier than the last one. But not like horrific dirty. Meaning like it's really bad. It's not that bad. It's not great. But the nice thing is that it is a fairly sweet cinnamon roll. And with the glazing and all that, it does help to balance out the coffee. Right. So I tend to find that I can drink some of the more troubled coffees as long as I have something sweet. M0 says, Cho, I think eventually can go, goo, saccharin, sugar. Oh, nice. I don't know that. And so there's a German called the Zucker. Nice. Same time with gold and bulgur, bovine, bulgur wheat, bovine wheat? Bulgur? Huh. I don't know bulgur came from North Africa. Peter says cinnamon roll is cuter than Hello Kitty. That's not nice, man. That's not nice. I think you're a Gudetama guy. Oh, Anton says I don't even know what cinnamon roll. So, maybe it's not. I guess maybe it's not popular outside of America. So here in America, I presume there's something going to be similar. What you do is you make a sweet dough, flour, sugar, eggs, milk, yeast, because you want a little bit of rise in it, right? And so you basically make this dough, and then you roll it out. Oh, you could put just a little bit of sugar. Maybe you don't have to put sugar, but you roll it out. You roll it out into a big sheet, like a big rectangle, and then you get a mixture of cinnamon and sugar, and if you want some kind of nuts, walnuts, pecans, whatever you want, and then you butter the surface of the dough, of the rolled out dough. Soften butter, really soft, so it spreads easily. Butter that. Then you sprinkle this cinnamon sugar nut mixture across the whole thing. And then you roll. You roll it up, and then you slice into like little, slices of the cinnamon roll. Turn it over, 350 degrees for, 40 minutes, 40 minutes. And then you've got this baked thing that will look sort of like this. Now, like I said, this is a laminated dough, a croissant style dough, so you don't really, this is a whole different, this is a much more involved, typically a 3-day process to do the lamination. So really high commitment. But, so you bake that, and once you're done, you take the rolls, each of the rolls, and then you create a sugar glaze, basically what's called powdered sugar, confectioner's sugar, water, mix it all up, get a nice glaze, pour it on top, and then that's it. Really, really quite decadent. My brother's the big cinnamon roll person. Like, he loves Cinnabon. Like, he would always tell me, like, even when he, especially when he was living in Manila, anytime he went to get his haircut, there was, at this particular mall, at this barbershop, there was a Cinnabon. He was like, every time I go to get my haircut, I get a Cinnabon. I was like, well, right on, dude. Peter says, if you're into coffee culture in Japanese, you know, I used to be more into anime, but I'm not so much. I mean, I'm older now, so I'm into older school. I can't even say that. Like people talk about Akira. I didn't even see Akira. Like I'm into like Star Blazers, Space Battleship Yamato, Voltron, all those older school ones. Robotech. Robotech was like huge for me. My nephew, really into anime. And he's always talking to me about, like, what's the one with the old Toyota Corolla? The white one they deliver, like tofu, Fujiwara Tofu Shop or something like that. I keep forgetting the name. Azanti says, easy to make homemade. Yeah, I think it is really quite easy. I totally agree with you. Totally agree with you on that. M0 says, potentially not the wheat itself, just the translation. Cyrillics are tough to learn and correlate with history, but the Persians heavily influenced phonetically. Oh. There's a word for cow in Persian, gov. Asante says you can put currants and sultanas. Oh, I never thought about that. That's a great idea. I like that. Dev loves Cinnabon. Yes, I hear you. Peter says, I hate anime. Maybe Astro Boy. You know, I've never seen Astro Boy. Like, that is of the era of my time. I think. Like, or maybe that's older. Maybe that's like 60s. Initial D, thank you, Asante. That's perfect. Initial D and Peter, thank you. And yeah, both actual movie and anime. Yeah, my nephew, he was a huge fan of that. He's finished the series now. I guess it's a series as well, so it's a whole long series. He's done it now, so he doesn't really have to. He's onto something else. I don't know what he's onto. I don't really understand. I'm totally behind. Okay, so here's the other thing that I spied there. This is, and I kind of asked the girl, is that new? And she's like, yeah, it's relatively new. So they've got bagels. So there's sesame bagel. It looks like they put some kind of cornmeal or something here on the bottom to prevent it from sticking. If you're not familiar with bagels, of course are a dough that is like a bread dough that is boiled and then baked normally with a hole. Now here's the key: you must boil the dough. If you don't boil the dough, I don't know what you're making. Like years ago, Bronwyn Cerna, who's a very, very dear friend of mine, she was the 2004 U.S. Barista champion. I was hanging out with her in Seattle one year, and she was like, dude, let's go get some bagels, man. I was like, all right. Now, let me preface this. I grew up here in Baltimore. I grew up in a Jewish neighborhood. I was the only Gentile in a sea of Jews. Like, if you flew over my family house during Christmas time, if you flew over the neighborhood on Christmas time, you could tell exactly where we lived because we were the only place in like a 3 square mile area that had Christmas lights. Right? That's how like Jewish this place was. In fact, when I turned 16 and I finally could drive on my own, and I went to go visit a friend of mine on Christmas Eve, I drove to my cousin's house. And I was in awe, in awe. I don't know how it is where you guys may live, but here in some neighborhoods in the United States, families will take brown paper bags, the little sandwich-sized bags, put votive candles in it, and line their sidewalk and light the candles so it illuminates the sidewalk. I remember going around Christmas Eve and I was like amazed. I was like, wow, I've never seen this. I mean, because I lived in a very Jewish neighborhood. But because of that, I had a lot of Jewish food and a lot of bagels. And there's some pretty hardcore bagel places in Baltimore. So when I was in Seattle, she's like, let's go down and have some bagels. She's like, these are the best bagels. I was like, all right. Of course, I'm a little bit snobby because, I grew up in a Jewish neighborhood, right? So I don't know about that, but let's go try it. I'm game. So we go to this bakery. Now, we're in Seattle, right? Just remember that. Just remember. And this is 2004, I think. And we go there, we get this bagel, and she's like, isn't it amazing? And I'm really the kind of person that I don't really want to rain on your parade. Like my cousin, he was raving about this Chinese takeout, about their beef fried rice. He's like, it's the best beef fried rice. And so we had some the other day because my aunt bought some. Not his mom, but another aunt, and we're eating it, and I was like, this is some of the worst, utterly some of the worst fried rice I've ever had. I was like, this is just not good. It's like if you imagine if you took rice, and you put it in a pan and you fried it, and then you put a ton of soy sauce, a dark soy sauce, so it gets dark, and then you added the beef and it's just dark. That's what it tastes like. I was like, this is terrible. So when I saw him the other day, he's like, oh, so I heard you had it. I said, you liked it, right? And I was like, yeah, it was what I had thought. Hey, I don't want to yuck on your yum. But my cousin, he's a little bit like, he doesn't have many social graces. So it's like, he'll talk about things and he'll oh, he hates that. That's just terrible. It's just the worst. And I'm like, you have no, I think to myself, you have no taste. I have no idea what you're talking about. So anyway, I don't know why I went on that, but the bagel. Oh, so Bronwyn, we're at this bakery. We have this bagel, and man, it is not, as a bagel, it is not good. It is just doughy, and it's a piece of bread. It's basically a bread with a hole. It's a bread donut. And she's like, isn't it amazing? And I was like, it's, yeah. I was like, yeah, okay, why not? It's like, so we have great bagels here. And this is where I'm going to be worried about, okay? Because I've always thought we had great bagels here. Then this past summer, I went to a place in New Jersey. It was in New Jersey. We were in New Jersey for the Thursday night live streams 200th episode cigar outing. And I thought, well, I'm in Jersey. New York has good bagels. I've been to a lot of the ones in the city, but let me see what's here in New Jersey. And so I looked up a couple of places that said the 1 and 2, the top 2 in the state. So I went to both. And I went to this one called Teaneck Road Bagels in Teaneck, New Jersey. A revelation. It was a revelation. The crust, the way that the boiling had and the baking had crispy exterior with this beautifully chewy interior. It was the most stellar bagel I've ever had. And I've been to Montreal and I've been to New York. I've done all those bagels. I've had great bagels, great bialys, sitting outside, drinking coffee and sugar milky coffee. But this Teaneck Road, and I went to the other one that was supposed to be better. I forgot the name of it. I've already forgot the name of it. I can't remember. But Teaneck Road, holy God, it was so good. So when I eat bagels, so I came back home, and I bought a whole bunch. I bought a dozen of these bagels, and I powered through them. And I was like, man, I need more bagels. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go to our favorite bagel shop here, Goldberg's. New York style bagel, super Jewish. Like they don't sell, like you can't get a sausage, egg, and cheese breakfast sandwich there, right? Like it's hardcore. Not as good. Not as good. I was like, oh my gosh, man, I can't believe that I've been. So to this day, this is in July, I still think of these bagels. My brother had to go to do a work trip to Jersey. I was like, dude, if you have time, man, can you swing by Teaneck Road? He said, I won't be in that area. I was like, well, just in case you do make it out that way. So when I'm giving you all this prefacing because as I eat this is what's going to be playing in the back of my mind. How does it compare to Teaneck Road? I'm hoping that it will. Like, it's got interesting, like, it's not a beautiful bagel, meaning that it's like, bagels tend to be very tight on the surface, smooth. This is very, like, textured and, kind of ugly in that respect. I think it's kind of pretty, but, the hole is not well defined. You can tell that it was really shaped by hand. And typically there's a way that bagel bakers shape their bagels. I don't think Bethany does that style. I mean, you can just tell by the way it is. It's kind of like formed and forced. And there's this little nub here that actually looks kind of tasty that I'm going to break off first. Oh, interesting. A little bit of... There's good resistance in the crust. There's good kind of like loftiness or chewiness to the crumb. It's kind of dense. It's dense. All right, if you don't know, if you're a suburban type living here in the nice suburbs and you don't know bagels, it's got nice flavor. The dough itself, the crumb actually has nice flavor. It's okay. It's okay. $1.45, not a bad price. I'm not coming here for the bagel. I'm coming here for the cinnamon roll. All right, sorry I've been babbling on. Paige, good morning to you as well. Chris, good morning as also to you. Ever been to Big Bon Bodega in Savannah? No, I have not been to Savannah since I was a child. When we did a road trip with my parents, my brother, down to Florida, to Orlando, to go to Disney when I was really, really young. And that was the only time we passed through Savannah. Actually, I was just hanging out with a good friend of mine who lives in Atlanta last night. He's visiting up here for the week. But I haven't been down. I haven't gotten much down to Georgia. Oh, Chris says, do you mind hitting your wipers off? No problem. My apologies on that. I don't. I'm probably babbling away and you're like, this click. What the heck is that? Azante says, supermarket bagels aren't good. Yeah, they tend. Although I gotta say, I did eat a good amount of Lender's frozen bagels, which were, well, when you're like in elementary school, it's perfectly fine. I don't know if I would like it today. Chris says, supermarket bagels like Hostess to cupcakes. Oh, no doubt. I must say with this, it's so nicely cooked that it's very crunchy on the bottom. Nice and crisp. Yeah. If you like cinnamon rolls, this is a very different type of cinnamon. I love croissants, so I'm naturally predisposed to liking this style. But if your belief is that cinnamon roll should only be soft and chewy like Cinnabon, you may not like this. Because of the way it's baked, it is more, I would say that it's more difficult to eat than a Cinnabon. Cinnabon's soft and doughy and chewy. This has got some textural juxtapositions. It's crunchier, it's harder. It's got more resistance to your chew. Naomi says, I like the ones that have a tiny hole. Easier to spread my cream cheese on it. Ah, yes. I hear you. Paige says, we have a company around my area called Frequency Bagels that does sourdough bagels. Ooh, that sounds delicious. Chris says, I like dense rainbow bagels for some reason. Oh, those are fun, the rainbow, where they like color the different doughs and then they kind of twist them or like mash them together. I kind of think those are fun. The bagel shop, Teaneck Road and the Goldbergs here in Baltimore, they don't do things like that. I think it's just too like untraditional. And the egg bagel's so good. There's so many good. What I always liked, this guy, there used to be a bagel shop here, owned by also a guy named Jay, and Jewish guy made great bagels. He would make a jalapeno bagel, and then because he's, even though he's Jewish, he lives, he's operating in this area, which is a Gentile area, right? So he's making like sausage, egg, and cheese bagels. I would always get the sausage, egg, and cheese on toasted jalapeno bagel. Oh, perfect. I like to have that little bit of heat. So I am a little bit disappointed when I go to like hardcore places and I'm like, do you have sausage? They're like, no, we don't do sausage here. It's like, it's unclean. I was like, I know. But I've accepted Christ and, we eat unclean stuff, so. Paige says Savannah's one of her favorite cities. Oh, you should. I'll have to check it out. I'll have to go check it out. Peter says, I don't think I've ever eaten a bagel. Oh, maybe you should look around and see. I don't know what the scene is would be in Australia. I mean, I'm sure there's Jewish communities there. So if you just look for a Jewish community in your area, or if you see a dude wearing like Hasidic clothing, just be like, hey man, where can I get a good bagel? He's like, that's racist. Yeah, I know it's not racist. It's religiousist. But I figured you would know where good bagels are. I said, all right, well then you're right. And he'll tell you where to go. And get the lox and cream cheese. Like the lox is that like it's like gravlax, which is the cured salmon. I do like that. That is some good eating. And Kent's never had it either. Really? Oh, interesting. Well, I totally can understand that. Chris says, I just got here. Where did you end up going? Oh, we're here at a place called Bethany's in Cockeysville, Maryland. Not too far from where our new shop's going to be. And I come here every once in a while to get this cinnamon roll. So I thought that we'd do it again. Never says, I've never had an exceptional bagel, so I'm okay with what I buy at Trader Joe's. Ah, yes. Well, if you ever get to New Jersey, Teaneck Road Bagels in Teaneck, New Jersey, which is very close to the George Washington Bridge. It may be out of your way. It's well worth the effort. But actually, maybe it's better never to. If you've never been, it's maybe better never to go there. Because here's the thing. When you've had something exceptional, and you guys all know this, when you've had something exceptional, it's difficult to go back to. It's difficult to go back to the life that you once led. It's a terrible thing. All right, we're going to start rolling because I should at least start rolling. Hopefully we won't get hit by a car. Peter says, no Jewish community where I'm from. Really? Wow. I just find that so fascinating because, I've lived in a place where there's lots of Jewish people. I mean, I grew up surrounded by them, but I mean, there's a very sizable Jewish community here in Baltimore. Oh, here's a place that we go to once in a while. This place just opened, Zuck Grill and Pizza. Don't know what that's all about, but looks like it's halal. I'm gonna go check that out. Lion's Den is if you're an adult and you want to have adult toys. That is a place I've only heard it's good. Sichuan Taste, they're pretty Once in a while, I'll go to the Sichuan Taste and get like beef lo mein when I just want simple carry-out beef lo mein. It's actually fairly decent. One thing that I do recommend about Chinese restaurants, at least here in America, a lot of Chinese carry-out places or Chinese restaurants in general have added sushi to their menu. They've added Thai food to their menu. Never buy any of those at the Chinese restaurant. Never. Never. At least I don't. I'm like, oh no. I can't do that. Chris says, I'm from New York City, so I'm spoiled with the bagel. So Chris, what's your favorite bagel? And I tell you, man, if you get out to Jersey, you got to drive there. I think it's kind of far from the New Jersey Transit, but I think you'll find it well worth the effort. Oh gosh, that light didn't last at all. Paige says, the Frequency Bagel folks here are originally from around Baltimore, but they're not Jewish. Oh, no, they would know bagels. If they did bagels, they would know bagels. Chris says, I have a long history of bagels. My family owns an Italian deli. We get ours from Rochester. Ooh, Rochester, wow. So why Rochester? That's such a curious thing. Like, with so many bagels in the city, why go outside to Rochester? Like, what is it that sets that apart? Now I'm very curious. Ken says, but our version of a cinnamon roll is the pride of the town. Okay, sorry. We call it, my numbers are shaking. Skilling bowl. Shilling bowl. Okay. We used to cost 1 shilling. Oh, nice. Oh, skilling. Oh, it is skilling. Okay. Is that the currency you still use today in skillings? Sorry, I've only been there once. It was only for a day, so I'm a little bit behind on. Oh, hundreds of years ago. All right, so now we're in the interior, right? So now we're going to get into the gist of it. No more crunchy, just soft interior. Oh yeah, that's quite nice. That's nice and soft. It's just getting over my head. That's good. This is a great cinnamon roll. But don't get me wrong. This is a great cinnamon roll. And even though I just said that once you've had something extraordinary, everything else is kind of meh. So if this is supposed to be extraordinary, then that would mean that the Cinnabon is meh. But actually, that's not true, because the Cinnabon... If I find one, I'll still tear into a Cinnabon with no prejudice. M0 says Rochester bagels. That's why they had to change the type of pizza up there to a New Haven. You better be careful, M0. You say things like that, people have known to start wars over less. Peter says, Rochester, UK. Did you really? How did you find living in the UK? Was it a good time? It seems like it would be a good time. One of my really good friends lives in Blackpool. And he's always like, dude, when are you going to come visit? I mean, I don't know if he says, he doesn't really, he writes to me, so that's how I hear it. He's actually American. Is he American or is he English? He's a Filipino guy, Filipino mixed. Oh yeah, because Jones, his mom is Filipina, his father is British. We met in college. Although in college he had a very American accent, so I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if you say dude. Oh, Brit's trying to claim pizza and getting. I've heard different things, right? I've heard people say that the pizza was really started in America by Italian immigrants, and then other people are like, no, it's from Naples. And like, oh, okay, I don't know. I've never been clear on that. Chris says, hang on, I have to ask the rolls. The rolls are from Rochester, JJ Cassone. Oh, so Italians making bagels. Oh, that sounds good. I mean, Chris, do you find that these JJ Cassone bagels are better than, let's say, Murray's or some of the other stuff you get in the city? I've really been to Murray's. Well, I've been to Murray's quite a bit because the one that's just below 14th Street is close to where my friend lives in Chelsea. And normally when I'm in the city, I stay at his place. And then outside of that, I just I'll have bagels at like the bodega. You get the bagels with cream cheese and a coffee and you just go on your way. Actually, that's kind of interesting to me. Like, maybe next time I go to the city, we'll work on a video about like bodega coffee. Peter says, Naples, Italy by Greek immigrants. Oh, those Greeks, man, they're always very industrious. Here in the United States, if you go to, we have diners. I don't know if we have that. I don't know if there's what the equivalent would be in other parts of the world. But diners here, at least on the East Coast, they're like places to go to get all kinds. You can go there for almost any day part: breakfast, lunch, dinner, late night. And they have a huge menu. And as I was growing up, I didn't really understand this until later. But I always kind of wondered, why is there always spanakopita, and other Greek menu items in these diner menus? Like with your beef tri-tips or your pancakes, there's spanakopita, right? So you're like, what in the world is going on here? And then I learned that later, it was started by Greeks. Greek immigrants started their diners and they put their food on the menu. Uh-oh. Looks like there is heavy-duty traffic going on here. Oh yeah, that looks terrible. They may have to find an alternate route. Yeah, this is normally not like this. Look at that. It's normally not this heavy. And you can see kind of in the distance that the part of the highway that we're meeting up with is going to is also heavy traffic, so I'm going to have to work my way around. This cinnamon roll, I love it. I'm almost done. And since it's so big, I've almost finished the coffee. Dev says there's this New York bagel place here in Oahu. I didn't care for it because the bagel was too chewy. Oh, interesting. Well, a bagel should have a chewiness. The crumb should be a bit chewy. That's part of the process. I think that part of that comes from the way that, because it's boiled. Interesting. During the 8 years that I lived on Oahu, I think those guys started that business back then. I don't think or maybe right after, but I never, even at the time, I would never have bagels there. especially when I go to visit. But then again, I'm not going to Oahu to have bagels for breakfast, right? If I'm on Oahu and I want breakfast, I'm gonna go to Zippy's, right? There's this great restaurant in Hawaii called Zippy's. It's kind of like the local Hawaii diner, and Hawaii food is very very much a result of the patois of peoples that have immigrated there over the centuries, 150 years, whatever. So a lot of people. So back in the old days, so there used to be. So Hawaii was full of Hawaiians, right? And then the white people came, and they brought. They came and they started trading with the royals there, and then the royals liked them, and the royals let them into the power structure, and they opened companies and they started plantations, and all of this stuff, all colonialism. And then eventually they decided that, oh, you know what, maybe the monarchy's not friendly to us, so we're going to overthrow the monarchy and take this country for ourselves. They called the United States to send a warship, stationed a warship just off the coast of just in Honolulu Harbor, and forced the Queen to basically relinquish her crown, her power. And okay, there's the accident right here. I'm gonna slide back in and get on with it. All right. So during this era, they put a lot of they built plantations to grow sugar, to grow pineapples, things like that. But they needed workers. So what do? They needed to recruit workers to come work for cheap. So they went to places in Asia mainly to recruit Asian people, Japanese, Korean. Whoa, look at this craziness. I don't know what this guy did, but he totally crashed that. Wow. She totally crashed that. Holy smokes. That's terrible, but I gotta say, if you're gonna crash, man, that's pretty spectacular. So they got all these people, and so all these people from all over Asia came together, and as well as Puerto Rico and Mexico and other places. They brought their labor, and that has resulted in this incredibly diverse society. That when you talk about like a multi-ethnic, multicultural society, I think Hawaii is very, very much that place. And so the food reflects all that, because all these people that came from different parts of the world brought their foods. So, you can go get Filipino adobo or get Puerto Rican style pasteles, and, all in one place. It's really kind of wonderful in that respect. Peter says that Greek, does that say bugatsa? Is that right? Bugatsa is better than beignets. Oh, better than beignets. Oh, I have not had that. Or have I had that? We went to, my brother took me to a place with his family, this really great Greek restaurant that's relatively new. Something Plaka is the name. And I think we might have had something like that for dessert. Yeah, that. If it is what I think it is, then that was very good. But the idea of taking dough and dropping it into hot oil, frying it, and then putting sugar on top, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Like in Hawaii, the Portuguese brought that, what they call malasadas. So basically fried dough that they roll in, and it's a very dense, chewy dough. Fried, and then they put it in, not powdered sugar, but granulated sugar. Honestly, I'm not a big fan. Like, I like some of it. Like, there's a place called Kamehameha Bakery that does a poi malasada. Oh, I will tear those up. My cousin will get those. I'm like, we're going to tear into that. And Peter says they're filled with custard. I like that. Okay. Anything filled with custard is always nice. Malcolm says that I believe that, Peter, I have never been impressed by the beignets, even in New Orleans. Oh. I I guess when it comes to that, I'm easy to please. As long as it's light and fluffy, or maybe a little bit crunchy. Like, I'll eat beignets, love it. Especially if they're hot. I'm happy with beignets. If I find Indians that are American Indians, not South Indians, but Indians that are making fry bread, I'll tear into that. If I'm at the ocean, the beach, and they have funnel cake, tear into that. Anything with dough that's fried and powdered sugar, I'll put it in my mouth. Why not? So now that the cinnamon roll is done, and I'm just sipping on the coffee, that dirtiness has returned. It's still a dirty coffee. Malcolm says a beignet is a bland or donut. I hear you. I think one of the charms of the beignet. Again, like I said, we did beignets on the show before. I'm just happy with anything like that. But I think one of the things about beignets, like when you're in New Orleans and you go to Café du Monde, like if we looked at it qualitatively, like you're saying, beignets are a little bit on the blander side because they're not sweet. The dough's not sweet. The coffee is flavored with chicory because it's probably like not very high quality coffee. So if we looked at them qualitatively and outside of the context of being in New Orleans, I think we would find disappointment. But I think where it really comes into play is that people are usually in New Orleans sitting at the Café du Monde outside time, partying it up, eating beignets and coffee, and they're like, this is the most stellar beignets and coffee I've ever had. It's probably the only beignet they've ever had, but stellar nonetheless. Because it's contextual, right? It's the context of what they're enjoying. Like when people talk about espresso in Italy, a lot of people are like, the best espressos in Italy. But listen, the Italian espresso is solid. But is it the best? No, but you had a great time because you were in Tuscany, walking around in the beauty, eating Cavaillon melons, fresh in season, with some ham, with some prosciutto. So I think there's a lot of things that we let with and think about it and think about it being awesome, and they're awesome within the context of the experience. Peter says eclairs are better. I can't. Well, eclairs are great, right? The pâte choux is a great dough, but sometimes, like when we think about like chocolate covered dough with custard fillings, like sometimes eclair is beautiful, but that's when you want to like that kind of like not crisp, but like that kind of hard shell that's kind of soft, that pâte choux kind of shell. But sometimes you want it softer, right? Softer, like a Boston cream pie donut or Boston cream donut. Yeah, that's once in a while. That's the ticket. That's the ticket. M0 says, I really love how coconut or coconut milk and oil are incorporated into so many Indian and Asian sweet foods. Ah, yes. Europeans really eggs and sweet food products. Yes, and I think a lot of that has, I was talking about this with my mom and my aunt recently. Because while I can cook a lot of things and bake quite a few things, I don't really do a lot of Filipino bakery stuff, right? So my aunt does a lot of that. Things like suman or bibingka, things like that. And that's what you're saying. It's a really common ingredient for the liquid part of those things. It's typically a lot of rice flour, sugar, sometimes sweetened condensed milk, but mostly coconut milk. It gives that beautiful flavor. It makes sense because, like years ago when I was in Manila, we were talking about some friends about like coffee and the quality of milk in the Philippines, and the coffee and milk in the Philippines is pretty much atrocious, right? It's just terrible. Unless you're willing to go to their equivalent Costco and buy this brand of milk called Sunshine Dairy that's imported, that's frozen and imported from the United States. So in the Philippine way, it's wildly expensive. Now you can go to the grocery store and buy milk. However, there's no fresh milk in the Philippines. It's all like UHT, shelf-stable packaged milk, which means it tastes horrible. Anytime I go to a coffee place and get a milk drink there, and they're using UHT milk, I can always tell because it's got that that just messed up taste. So it's like, But I was talking to some farmers there because in the Philippines there's things called carabao, which are kind of like this. I don't even know what you call it, but it's a carabao, right? So this beast of burden that produces milk. The milk's fairly decent. But why do cows not survive well there? Because it's too hot, too humid for too much of the year. Like cows here in America, they can withstand the heat and humidity of summertime, but they really flourish during the winter. So the Philippines has terrible quality milk. But I think that's part of the reason why, coconut milk, being indigenous to the area, to the region, has just, dominated on the cooking as for baking. Peter says Indian sweets are underrated, but in moderation, very sweet. Are we talking Indians from South India or South Asia, or are we talking Indians from the United States? I mean, either way, I think you're right. The rain and the traffic. Traffic's not too bad though today. That's pretty good. Sometimes I get on this route and it's like heavy. Ever since the bridge collapsed a year ago, the traffic definitely has been more noticeable. Oh, South Asia. Okay, gotcha. I don't know if they have that in Australia and other places, but when you go to here in the United States, when you go to Indian restaurants, they have this drink called the lassi, a yogurt-based drink, typically mango lassi. I find it to be too sweet. I know the owners of this one Indian restaurant, known them for years. They're such a lovely couple. Every time I go there, let's say I get carry out. Like I like the malai kofta, the kind of fried cheese in a vegetarian dish, right? I'll just get that. The owner, she's always like, "Well, here, have some nasi," and she was giving it to me for free. And I'm like, a lot of times I want to say I always take it because she's so generous, and I would feel wrong to like try to politely decline, but I just find it too sweet. But that's a whole nother world of cooking that's so interesting. But there are so many spices, the combination of spices. All right, well, I guess we should sign off now so I can concentrate on this rainy drive. But back again tomorrow for another episode of the Coffee Q&A. If you have the time, if you have any inclination for cigars, I do the Coffee and Cigars live stream on Thursday nights, tonight, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Ono Live channel. So if you want to hang out some more, come and see us then. Usually Mom is with us. Thanks, M0. Appreciate that. So back here tomorrow. Hope you have a great one. And